what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy. General thoughts on the film review. Something funny and sad. It was so clear how superior Jaden Daniels was compared to that Georgia State team. And then the sad part is when you watched the defense, they looked like they belonged on the field with that Georgia State team. Now, granted, look, they ended up doing a better job and they came up with ways to stop them late. But I don't know, man. It's hard to not let even that first quarter loom very large over the entire defensive performance. Like, I felt like this was an awesome opportunity, Jake, for them defensively to try and do some things that they're scared to do against other teams, right? Like, play some press coverage, get up in their face a little bit, be willing to get beat over the top, take some risks and whatnot. And, nope, they just – and look, granted, they just continued to kind of play base, soft zone, giving guys like 15 yards of cushion. Mason Smith had a couple moments, I suppose. Harold Perkins had like one or two plays. I just can't help but, though, come out on the other side and not be a bit shocked with just the lack of impact from a defense against a team that should be that much lesser than you.
You know, the one thing that stood out to me this game, and it's happened before, but this game for sure because of the opponent, was the lack of team speed on that side.
Oh, whoa. Okay, that's actually really funny that you said that because, wait, I have that. I think it's under my defensive thoughts segment. This LSU defense is, all caps, slow. Get beat to the edge way too much. It's crazy. It's bad, dude.
It's bad. It's stuck.
Embarrassing.
It's stuck in the mud type speed. It is like if they get to the edge, it's almost like you give up. Or I don't know. I really don't know how to explain it just because I've never really seen it before. And it's like if they make one move, one cut, you can't recover. Like typically, like you make a cut, even if you get beat at LSU, certainly on the defensive side, you've got the speed to recover. You make the stop right there. It's like if they get one cut, T, it's like their feet just get stuck and then they just put their arms out.
Yeah.
And then the guy just runs through the arms.
Like it ain't like it's, I mean, to your point, right? I mean, as you started saying those sentences, I just, I'm having like flashbacks of like maybe Mingo takes a false step, Markevius Mingo, right? But then he plants off that false step and he just starts jetting toward the edge. And what looks like a lost play all of a sudden ends up in a TFL. I mean, to Jake's point, let's be clear. 1 week left. It's an entire rebuild from the ground up.
Yeah.
Next season. There's just not a lot. I mean, you got young DBs that you imagine will develop and improve, certainly, but the lack of speed on the front seven really showed up in this game in particular because this is not a Georgia State team that has elite athleticism. I mean, they got good players. Don't get me wrong. That back is really good. But their offensive line is so small compared to you. And it's still, you're just way too slow.
And you got stuck on that small offensive line.
Yeah, it's
multiple
still too sticky.
times. Just as soon as they engaged, it was over.
Yeah.
Like not getting off blocks. And as an offensive player, if you do that, it's the easiest day that I've had. I mean, if I'm just going to put my hands inside of the breastplate, hold on, and you're just going to like hand fight me but not get off, then my job's easy. Then I know as soon as all I got to do is shoot quick, and then you're done.
Yeah.
And they were finishing, like some of the defensive players were getting pushed like 6-7 yards past the ball at times.
I don't understand it. I really don't. It's again, I mean, it's just a complete rebuild, dude, and they're gonna have to go hard on the portal, on the defensive side of the ball, and really sell guys on coming here, which becomes a harder thing, Jake, when you don't really know what the coaching situation is going to look like. Like, I don't know if you're going to have a change of coordinator. I would imagine that in the very least, you're going to have changes at some of the position coaches. It's, slow. Slow would be how I would describe it. But do you have anything else on the defense? I mean, I don't know. I guess there's I just kind of sped through the film. There just was not anything particularly impressive.
So when we mention slow, like that's not just with like your straight ahead speed. Obviously, like some of those situations play as well. But it's slow in your redirection. It is slow in your sideline to sideline. It's slow in your
sideline to sideline.
Yes, and it's slow in identifying what it is and reacting to it. Like that's also like that part of it is slow. It's like when you're playing defense at that level, like you have to recognize it and then you have to immediately go to full speed. It's like they recognize it, think about it, turn slow, and then react to it.
Well, if you think about all the great LSU defenses of the past, that is the thing they had, that sideline to sideline speed, right? Like that old Oregon team in 2011 was shocked when they couldn't get the edge. The Alabama teams within those stretches, like Devin White covering sideline to sideline. Like that's what you're used to seeing is teams that when you would play one of these, and that's not what Georgia State is, but you played these teams this year and you saw what happened this year. But when you play these teams that run spread, right, and they want to get the edge, in the past, the most shocking part about running into LSU was that all of a sudden they can't. And what happens to those offenses when they can't do the thing that makes everything go? Well, this year, even teams that aren't that fast are able to beat you sideline to sideline and stretch you out. So yeah, they have to. I mean, so and I guess it becomes especially bad, Jake, because there does feel like there's a lack of speed, maybe a lack of athleticism there, and then also guys get out of position. And if you're taking false steps and you don't have the speed to make up for it, well, that's a recipe for kind of what you've seen all year long. And look, I know, like, look, don't get me wrong. I know it was only 14 points, and they played better late, and they came up with some big stops against Florida late. But we do have to be honest about what the film is saying as well.
Yeah, and I wonder what it looks like moving forward next year. Obviously, high school recruits, guys right now that are young players, seeing if they can continue to grow and develop. What do you do in the transfer portal? I mean, obviously, last year you tried to bring in some players through the portal that weren't just going to be one-year players. They were going to have multiple years, and that hasn't worked out. And I understand why you did that, because you didn't want to have to do, yet again, another portal defensive backfield rebuild, but that's where you're going to have to live again this year.
Yeah, and Matt C says, I don't think it's a complete rebuild. Have the talent to be fast and good. Just have to put them in the right place. I think week starts next week for sure. I mean, that's kind of an interesting thing. If you talk about have the talent. Like, okay, I know Harold Perkins is a beast. And yes, I would say that it's mainly on coaching and your overall just weakness of your scheme right now. And that side of the ball that Perkins looks the way that he does. And he's still finding ways to, like, make plays somewhat, right? I do agree that Weeks is really good. Jefferson's not bad. Toviano's still young, but, I like some of the gumption. I mean, I keep hearing, I agree that overall the talent should be better, but while somebody like Mason Smith has a ton of potential, ultimately it is unrealized right now, right? So, I don't know. It's obviously, I don't mean a true man-to-man all 11 guys rebuild, but it's as complete of a rebuild as I could ever imagine seeing at LSU. Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.